Welcome to another little photo editing tutorial, and in this I will show you some quick tips how you can combine different blending modes. So we'll look at this photo here, which is already completely processed. It shows the Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca, and this here is the image I started with, so not so much done for this image, but I think it's still a good image to show you some tricks. So we'll start with this step and I'll show you the final step I did, which doesn't do too much, but as always with my tutorials, it's not about the amount of the effect, it's more about the technique behind it and also showing you how you can apply it to your own images. So it's not always drastic changes I do, it's mostly subtle stuff. And what I like to do is use those blend modes here for the layers. And if you've seen other tutorials of mine, you know that I use soft light a lot for doing some dodge and burn. And actually what I sometimes also do, I use this black and white layer here and I set the blend mode to soft light, which creates quite a nice effect. So you see you have a change in contrast and a change in color. And normally what it does, it's much too intense, so I go down to fill 50%, and here it's important to use the fill and not the opacity. And now with the fill at 50%, the trick I'm now showing you is you want to split the effect to the colors and to the brightness or luminosity. But now I already have this to soft light, so I can't just go to luminosity or color here because I want this soft light effect. So how can I split this basically to the colors and to the luminosity? And for this I just duplicate this layer and then I create a curves layer. I put it beneath this, duplicate it, put it in between, and now I can clip the black and white layers to the curves layers. So basically just alt clicking between the two. So now that the black and white layers are clipped to the curves layers, I leave the blend mode for the black and white layers at soft light, and for the curves layers I set the blend mode to luminosity, and for the other one I set it to color. And now I have what I wanted. I have this black and white soft light effect, but I have split it to the colors and the luminosity, and now I can just remove the effect on the luminosity and just have the subtle effect on the colors, which you see here. It's removing some of the bluish tint here in the foreground, and I like this a lot. And here this effect for the contrast, it's a little too much for me, so I'd rather pull down the opacity a bit. And I could also use blend if and again spare out some parts in the dark tones and in the bright tones. So basically having this contrast effect only on the midtones of the image. And there's many other ways you can combine this. So this is just one example where I use this black and white layer. And what I could now do is also change the black and white here. So go to different filters here, so green, blue, and you see how this soft light black and white layer affects the luminosity since it's filtered by this curves layer. And there I can really fine-tune it, or I can just go in here and directly change the sliders. So make the blue a bit darker and maybe go with something like this. And I can do the same separately for the color effects. Again, also going through the different filters and see how the colors are subtly changed. Yeah, and that's basically what I wanted to show you. Just those quick tips here, using a combination of the blend modes by clipping one layer, one blend mode layer to another layer and having, for example, separate blend modes on those. And as always, if you liked this little tutorial and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe, and also if you have suggestions, just leave some comments.